Hey, what is going on, guys? RZ Stealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the Kleptomancy rework and kind of discussing what it means when it does go to live servers and which champions will be stronger with the Klepto changes. So if you're unaware of the Kleptomancy changes, on the PB right now, it's getting changed to where after you use an ability, your next 2 auto attacks will give you a Klepto proc. So with the changes here to Kleptomancy, I think it's obviously going to directly make champions stronger that were already running the rune, and I also think that now in certain matchups and in certain situations, Kleptomancy would be pretty strong on a lot of different champions. So for example, if you're playing a lane bully champion in either the mid lane or in the top lane, and you're going up against a mid lane or top lane pick that doesn't really have a ton of lane presence, say you're going up against like a tank top laner, like a Scion or a Maokai, and you're playing something like Jace top lane, you're gonna be able to get a ton of Klepto procs off with Jace in the laning phase in those kind of matchups. And I think that like for the mid lane, if you're going up against someone like Galio and you play something like Corki into that Galio, then the amount of gold generation you're going to be able to get is going to be really good in those kind of matchups. So I do think that overall this could be really good on a lot of different champions, just depending on the matchup. Obviously, you're not going to want to run it if you're in a harder lane, if you're in a counter matchup or something like that. But if you are in easier matchups, this rune could be really good on a ton of different champions. Now, if we go more so into specific champions here that are going to get a lot stronger with this rune changes, Alawi, Swain, and then Lucian in the mid lane or the top lane, I think are going to get much stronger with these changes. So the reason to why this is so good for Alawi is because when you use your E with Alawi, you're going to now be able to auto attack your E and gain 2 Klepto procs. So as long as you can consistently hit your E in lane with Alawi, then you have a potential to get 6 Klepto procs off of using 1 E, because you use your E, you get your 2 Klepto procs, you use your Q, you can auto your E again to get 2 Klepto procs, and then you can use your W. So it's just insane. I think this does have a ton of potential on Alawi, and I do think that with this change here, it will bring Alawi back into the top lane meta. And then for Lucian, for top lane and mid lane Lucian, I do think this does have a ton of potential. For bot lane Lucian, I still think press the attack is going to be the way to go. It's just overall a much more consistent rune in a duo lane. If you are in like a super easy matchup down in the bot lane and you know you're going to be able to get a ton of Klepto procs, then it's probably going to be okay in that situation. But for top lane and mid lane Lucian, if you're in one of those easy lane matchups, like if you're up against a tank top lane or just like a Galio in the mid lane and you can really abuse your passive with this new Kleptomancy, then I think this could be super good on Lucian when it does go live. And then for picks like Ez, Swain, Victor, who are doing very well with Klepto in this patch, these changes are obviously going to buff them, but the extent to which it'll buff them is still kind of up in the air. When you think about playing like Swain and Victor, you're not always going to be able to get 2 auto attacks off after you use an ability. So even though this is going to be a buff and it is going to generate a little bit more gold for you in the laning phase, I don't think it's going to be as big of a change as it is to someone like the Alawi or the Lucian. And then a few other champions I think could be really good with the runes situationally include picks like Jace, Corki, Draven, Fiora, Teemo, and Gangplank. So for these champions here, I do think they fit under the category of it's only going to be good on them depending on the situation, and I do think that this isn't a bad thing because it is going to open things up a lot for like different champions to try out this rune for next patch, and depending on the matchup, it could be really good on champions that just never ran Kleptomancy before. So you are really going to have to like weigh out the situation in champion select and decide if you're going to be able to consistently get 2 auto attacks off in the laning phase, because if you're not, the rune is going to be pretty trash, but if you are, then you can just generate a ton of gold with this new Klepto. So overall, look out for Alawi and Lucian top lane and mid lane with this new keystone. I do think that those champions do have the most potential to get stronger with these changes. Ezreal, Victor, and Swain are also picks that I'd look out for. They will get stronger with these changes. And then I do think that players are going to do a ton of testing to kind of see which champions can do good with this rune. But I do think that overall, for most champions, it is going to be situational at best. So that is going to be all for this video, guys. If you did enjoy them, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. I'll be coming out with a lot more content here in preseason, discussing some of the changes and what they're going to mean for the preseason and for certain champions. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.